pleasure to have my friend Wolf come up to the stage. He's going to give us a talk about Vim, 10 things you don't know about Vim. All right, take it away, Wolf.
So, who here has used Vim? Well, I guess my talk is over.
Good job.
Thank you. I don't know why this is taking so long to log in. But Vim is an editor that has descended from a long line of previous editors. X, Ed, VI. Yeah, this is not good.
I still type in VI instead of Vim.
That is not good. Vim. Let me tell you something about Vim. I've used Vim for 15 years. And for the last 12 of those years, all I knew about Vim was that you could insert, and if I wanted to delete stuff, I would go into insert mode and hit backspace. That was my total knowledge of Vim. This has got to stop. I have no idea what it's doing.
He did offer you to use his Surface.
That might come into play. We'll give him a little bit more time. So, my name is Wolf. I'm a software engineer. I've been a software engineer for, gosh, about 100 years. I work at Learning A to Z, Cambium Learning Technologies, where I do a lot of infrastructure stuff. And I use Vim every day. We also use IntelliJ. I'm also a user of Sublime text. I've used Eclipse and BBEdit, and I've even used Emacs, never seriously, but I've used Emacs. There's a question probably in your minds, am I going to tell you Vim is better than Emacs? No, I'm not going to tell you that.
I'm kidding.
But I will say this, most people are running Vim completely wrong. Because the natural way to start Vim is in VI compatible mode. This is really distressing me. I'm going to have to do something serious. Yeah. The natural way that Vim starts up is in VI compatible mode, which means every special thing that Vim does, and there are a lot of special things that Vim does, is disabled by default. Hopefully it can log in as me. We'll see. There are several ways to make Vim be non-compatible, and non-compatible is what you want. You can do it, baby. Come on.
By compatible, you're talking about compatible with the old VI.
Compatible with the old VI. You do not want to be compatible with old VI. So one thing you can do is you can start Vim with the Dropbox, you suck. Another thing is you can have a .vimrc file. If you have the very existence of a .vimrc file, makes Vim start up in non-compatible mode. Also, you can actually set no compatible, or you can use Vim greater than or equal to version 8.0. Are any of you using Vim 8.0 yet? Nice. Very nice. All right. The first thing to know about Vim is that it can use plugins. And if I could have logged into my demo user, I would have made a brand new vimrc file for you. I'm going to make a vimrc file, but it's not going to be the one I'm using. It's just I'm logged in as me. But basically, the first thing you do is set no compatible. And then you file type off. And set RTP, that's the runtime path, else equals .vim slash And my touch typing is fantastic, by the way. Thank you for noticing. Bundle.vim. Call bundle begin. This is the basic vimrc file that is going to use plugins. There are several plugin managers. One of them is called Bundle. There's several others. There's Pathogen, a couple of other things. But you don't need to know any of those. You only need to know about Bundle because Bundle does everything. And the first thing you say is, I want to use Bundle itself. And the second thing you would say is that you want to use Tim Pope's Vim Sensible. That just sets up some basic settings for you that are what everybody should have. Third thing you'd set up is Tim Pope's Surround plugin. And just for me, you would use Control-P.vim. It's called Control-P, but I don't attach it to Control-P, I attach it to Control-T. I think I'll put this on my desktop. And Vim does syntax coloring. Once you've got this installed, you can say, plugin install, and Vim will step through all the plugins that you've listed. You can see I actually have a lot more plugins than I've listed in this little delicate one. But if I had used my demo account, we would have had just those 4, and it would have been much more demonstrative. Sorry about this. So the first thing I want to talk about is the help system. Vim has the most powerful help system of any open source software I've ever seen. You can get help about help. You can get help about concepts. You can get help about keystrokes. That's what GU does, it makes things uppercase. If you care about things in insert mode, you'd start it with a lowercase I. Tell me what Control-V does in insert mode. It lets you insert special keys. You can get help about options. Compatible. You can get help about Vim script functions. And you can get help about plugins once you've installed them. So there is absolutely no excuse. Help is there for you no matter what topic you are looking for. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is I actually have all of this in a thing that will not fit on the screen. Oh, I missed this thing. I want to talk about Vim being upside down. Vim is totally backwards from all GUI software. In GUI software, you pick an object and then you tell the system to do something to it. You select an object and you say cut, or you grab a picture and you scale it. In Vim, first you pick the action and then you apply it to a text motion or a text object. But it turns out that visual mode turns that back on its head. With visual mode, you can actually, I will find Shift-V. That puts me into visual mode per line. I'll select some lines, and then I'll yank them. And then I'll go to the end of the file, and I will put them. And they all got pasted. So visual mode is the thing you've been missing all this time that makes Vim act like your GUI applications. Visual mode has three sort of different ways that it works. One is with line mode, the way I just showed you. Another is with character mode, so I could say lowercase v and then step over call and yank that, and then go to the end of the line and put the word call. When you copy character-wise, it'll do it within the line. If you copy line-wise, it puts it above or below the line, depending whether you said P or Shift-P. And now,
when you're in visual mode, that's not like insert mode, is it? Like, you know, when you do the I command and you can type, because I noticed you press $sign there to go to the end of the line.
in the same way that insert is a mode, visual mode is a mode, exactly the same way. It's not directly ready for insert, but if you, for instance, I'm going to select I said V inner word. Visual inner word is a text object that selects a word and not the spaces around it. So now plugin is selected. I'm in visual mode. You can see from the visual side at the bottom of the page. If I hit D, it'll get deleted. If I hit C, it'll go into insert mode and I'll be changing it. See, now it's in insert mode. You can tell underneath that C there, and I can type, or I can't type, whatever, some new word, and you're out of visual mode. Visual mode is all about selection, picking the object to do it, and insert mode is typing.
The visual mode is also where you can move around the screen. Right?
Normal mode is where you move around the
Normal
screen.
mode.
Normal mode is the mode you're supposed to be in all the time. In fact, normal mode is so normal that you don't put a prefix on it when you look for help. If you want to know, for instance, I look up GU. That's a normal mode command. It actually also works in visual mode. So if I said, select that word again, and then said G-Shift-U, the word becomes capitalized. Exactly the same as if I was in normal mode. In fact, if I wanted to, I'll just go to the V and bundle Vim, and I will say G-U inner word. And that capitalizes that. So that's the difference between visual mode and normal mode. The command works the same in both, but in visual mode, GU happens second and worked on the selection. And in normal mode, the GU happened first and worked on the thing that I said next, which was inner word, text object.
I'm having a problem understanding how in normal mode it's reversed, because normally, like your first example, I would have done something like 5YY, then move my cursor to where I wanted, and then do a P.
Mm-hmm.
So I still first am selecting the text, and then P to basically put it below where my thing is. So it still, to me, seems the same way.
All you're doing is 5 lines. It's easy to know you got to do 5YY. What if you're doing 500 lines or 30 lines?
It works in that case, but what about when you DW? DW
Delete a word?
means delete the next word.
Correct.
So you said the action first and then the text motion.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's the way it mostly happens. 5YY is special because YY is special. YY is special, DD is special, CC is special.
Okay.
All right. Now I want to show you desktop. Boy, the key thing's in the way. It's very frustrating. 10 things / visual. So here I have a table of something ready to break a computer, since some of us don't have last names. But Control V puts you into block visual mode. Now I'm selecting a block. I can delete that. I can go to the beginning and Shift P, put it before the cursor, and now I've flipped the columns around. So visual block mode is like Sublime text, in case you care about Sublime text. So this is a perfect time to talk about text object, which I've already used now. You already know about the motions like word and sentence and paragraph and block and percent. Maybe you don't know about percent. I'll talk about percent in a second then. But there is a thing called text objects, which work even if you're in the middle of something. So here I'm on the queue, and I want to select this whole word or yank this whole word. I can say AW for a word or IW for inner word. All text objects start with A or I. A is around. It picks the thing that you're talking about and some white space around it, or whatever thing it's built out of. And I is inner. It selects just the thing. So inner word, inner capital word, which is a long string of things with other characters besides letters. Inner sentence, inner paragraph, inner square brackets, inner curly brackets. Inner tags. Tags are fantastic. The way it works with tags is great. But I'm just going to say visual inner word, and that picked the word. Or let's see what happens if I say visual inner sentence. Oops. Visual inner sentence. Nope, there's no periods, so it got the whole page. But this is a perfect time for me to demonstrate one of those plugins that I mentioned at the beginning, Vim Surround. Vim Surround lets you put arbitrary, I already said help surround to show you that, but it lets you put arbitrary characters around something. So for instance, Y surround inner word with the tag span class equals foo.
So it knows about HTML.
Yeah. And now I will visually select a tag. Gets the whole thing, including the tag itself. But if I had just said visually select inner tag, it would only have gotten the contents of the tag. The tag stuff's super powerful. In fact,
Wow.
if I, in visual mode, so surround with the tag P. Now I'm in this middle one on the queue. I can delete surround to tag to get the outer tags to go away. So the surround plugin is a must-have.
So could you select the whole column of last names and apply that surround span?
Let's find out what happens. Control V, JJJ, and let's say,
Did you done Control V inner word?
that, I don't know what that would do. That's strange. But let's try surround with curly braces.
See, I wouldn't really want all that white space inside it.
Okay. In that case, Control V. Well, let's find out. Shift, surround. No, it's already visually selected, so if I type enter word, it's going to go into insert mode.
Okay. The eye is good for insert mode.
Yeah. All right, so not perfect. One thing I didn't know about Vim, and probably you guys all know this already, but with Vim, you can edit multiple files at the same time. I always thought Vim was just one file at a time. That's not true. So if I go to build/get, I can edit, I wonder if this works. SHA1star.c. Nope, I gotta quit.
Can you search file name now?
In fact, I can.
Instead of getting out, could you search the file name?
Yes. Let me just CD back to that place. CD build git. I'm going to open those files anyway, and then I'm going to search and show you. 4 files to edit. If I want to open a file now, remember I said I installed that Control T plugin, but I attached it to Control T. If I say Control T, it starts looking for files, and I can find something with lookup in the name. How about SHA1 lookup.c? And edit that. That Control P is super useful. Also useful, something I was going to save for later to show you, is Nerd Tree, which is basically like Sublime's left-hand column. It shows you the files in the directory that you're in. You can move up a directory, down a directory. You can use Vim's full powers to navigate that slot. That one makes it go back way again. So when you have multiple files open, you can see what you have by saying :ls. And it'll pop up a list of the buffers that are currently in use. And you can pick one of those buffers. So for instance, I want to look at SHA1 file.c. I will say :buffer 3, please. And now I'm editing that. But maybe you don't like switching back and forth between files like that. Maybe what you really want to do is you want to edit with multiple windows, multiple tabs. Let me get out of here and Vim -P. Now, these across the top are tab headings. GT flips you to the next tab. G-Shift-T makes your tab go back. So there's tab files, but each tab file is itself a collection of windows. So I can vsplit and edit my /.vimrc file at the same time. So now, in this tab, I have 2 windows. And in the next tab, I have just 1 window.
Is this one of the plugins? Is this Control P again, or is?
Nope, this is built into Vim.
Yeah.
Windows and tabs is a natural part of Vim. And this is the part where I would have demonstrated Control P. The thing I want to show you with respect to multiple windows is, let me Control W H puts me back into that window. That's Control W. All window commands start with Control W. You can remap them, of course. I'm going to go to the top. You see there's several files here. If I want to go to this file, I say GF, and that opens the file that's under the cursor. There's advice. I'm going to go to that file, advice.h. And I can go back to the file I was previously at with Control O. So editing multiple files, no problem. Vertical splits, horizontal splits. It turns out that all of the things that I've shown you so far, you can do with the mouse as well, if you're willing to set mouse equals A, as I have right here. That will let you drag your windows, rearrange your tabs, click on tabs, make your command area higher or lower, actually go into visual mode. So let's Shift U that. And also there's drag and drop. So here I have file, and I'm going to grab all three of these. And drop them on. You can drop it on the icon, or you can drop it in the window. This is the GUI version of Vim, which you can launch with GVim on whatever your platform is, or MVim on the Macintosh as well, besides GVim. It makes operating system style tabs, but it still supports multiple windows. Also, you can use the mouse for scrolling. Here I'm using 2 fingers on my trackpad. So if you like the mouse, you still have the mouse. Now the thing that makes Vim work, the thing that is the underlying machinery of macros and of copy-paste and of transporting things around, is registers. Vim has a slew of what it calls registers, which are basically text variables. They can hold short strings of text or really long strings of text. They can hold an entire document if you want. Registers will either be in a line mode or in a character mode, depending on if you copied line endings when you put them in there. The first register that you need to know about is the unnamed register, which you address with the quote sign. And whenever you yank, or I just yanked that, if I wanted to, I could paste it by saying quote, quote, paste.
It's like a clipboard.
It is like a clipboard. All of these registers are clipboards. There's 26 basic ones. They're labeled A through Z. You use lowercase a to get to them. And if I wanted to collect this variable into register A, I'd say quote A yank. Now, colon registers, I can see that A has the word license in it. There are a zillion registers. If you use capital A through Z and you do a copy, instead of filling the register, you're appending to what you made with lowercase a through Z. There's the star and plus registers, which represent the clipboard and the selection in Linux. There's registers 0 through 9, which represent the last 10 things that you've yanked or deleted. There's a black hole register that lets you throw away stuff that you're deleting, because this is one of the most annoying things that happen. I want to select this word, so I'll yank that. And now I want to delete this word, delete inner word, and then I want to put the thing I just copied down there in license. No, it didn't work. Why not? Because I clobbered my yank. What happens is, because I deleted that, went into the unnamed register and overwrote the thing that I had. What I want to do is undo that and then paste from the yank register, which is register 0. So
when you initially yanked it, it went in the unnamed register
it went into the unnamed register and into 0. And deletes don't go into 0, but they do go into 1 through 9. There's a special register, which is really, really interesting. When you're in insert mode, you can at any time type Control-R and then a register name like A, and you're pasting that register. But if the register you paste is equal sign, then what happens is, down here at the bottom, you go into expression mode, and you can type something like 25 plus 3 times 7. I wish that would go away so I can
46.
hit return. And then 46 goes into the exactly right. In fact, it's straight Vim script down there, so if you wanted to, let me see. Yeah, shell. Go on CD. All right, finally I'm in a place where I can demonstrate the thing I want to demonstrate. So I can type Control-R equals, oh, I'm not in insert mode, sorry. Control-R equals and then type a piece of Vim script /GUID.py.
So they're not inserts.
And inserts a random GUID. Yeah, let me just open up that. That's the script I just ran. I love Python. One of the great things about Vim is when you have a repetitious job to do, repetitious, is that a word?
Sure.
When you have a job to do that requires a lot of repetition, you can use the dot character to repeat your last command. But for things more complicated than the dot, normally you'll record a macro. Don't save anything. Go away. Go away. Go away. I want to open a specific file. Which one is it? I want to number these from 1 through 12. Those are line numbers showing on the side. They're not actually part of the file. I want to number these 1 through 12. I want to put a semicolon on the end, and I want to capitalize the first letter in each one of those things. So I could record a macro, and to record a macro, you hit Q. Now you're recording. As soon as you hit like that you want to record into G. So I'm recording the macro in register G. And then I would type a bunch of stuff, and I would have to get it right the first time. And then I would hit Q again, and I'd have a macro ready to run. But that is a waste of time. What I like to do is I like to write my macro in the document and then yank it into the register and play it back. The thing that you need to know about yanking into the register is the magical Control-V key. Control-V, which we looked up in help at the beginning, lets you type arbitrary keystrokes and you get the keystroke instead of the actual action of it. So when I hit new line, I don't get a new line, I get the please give me a new line character. So what I want to do is I want to append a semicolon to the end of the line, and then I want to escape and get out of that. So Control-V, escape. There's what an escape character looks like. Then I want to insert at the beginning of the line, Control-R equals, I want to use the expression register, and I want to paste the value of a buffer-specific variable called I, and then I want to hit return, and type a parentheses and a space, and then escape out of that. Escape. I want to move to the right one spot. I want to capitalize the next letter and then move down a line. This isn't good enough because I need to also let that variable plus equal 1. And then Control-V return. So this is the macro. It assumes that B colon I already has a value. So let's let B colon I equal 1. Let's go up and I'm not going to yank the line because I don't want to get the carriage return at the end. I'm going to yank to $, which gets the end. So I want to put that in G. Shift quote G, yank, $.
So you want to get up to the Control-M, you just don't want to get the terminated new line.
Exactly, that's exactly right. Now I could actually run this by hitting @G. That runs at one time. But I want to run it over and over again on a whole list of lines. I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to let B equal 1 again. I'm going to select with Shift-V all the lines that I care about, and I'm going to say, in normal mode, run @G on the entire selection. Now, these two characters right here, or these two markers, represent the beginning of the visual selection and the end of the visual selection. That's what those are. When you have a visual selection and you hit colon, those things pop up, and normally you Control U to backspace over them. Really, they mean the beginning and end of the visual selection. I'm going to hit return now, and if everything is right, it's going to number all the stuff. Yeah, that's how macros work. So, macros are your friend. Don't try to type them. Put them in the document and yank them into a register. Sorry, I keep drinking. I get dry.
That's a great tip, though. That is a great tip. Yeah. Yeah, because I've done the, type in the macro, hope I get it right.
Exactly. That is so much
And when I
fun.
don't, I gotta do it again.
So, In Vim, you can interact with the shell. I already showed you some interaction where I ran that script druid.py, but you can, let me undo, oh, because I did it as a normal command, I undo it as one hunk. I can redo it too.
Oh, right, 'cause it was, yeah.
Undo, redo,
All day long.
exactly. Let me go back to table.txt because I am going to actually run a script, not a script, I'm going to run from lines 4 through 8, I'm going to run awk and ask awk to print just the second field. So that's interaction with the shell. You can run awk. You can insert things if you want to. So for instance, I can put on line 9, or starting on line 9, the output of cow. Or if I wanted to, I could say from 9 through 16, give me ls. In the directory I'm in, there's only one file. So there's that. And,
Sorts of hand.
oh yeah, I can sort these. So, let's say 4, comma, 8. I could say sort, or I could say bang sort. Either one does the right thing. Sort is built in, bang sort runs the one from the shell. I have on here,
Say that again?
sort is built in
Oh.
to Vim, and bang sort, it runs the one from the shell. Now the heavy hitter section. Search and replace. I don't know how much you guys search and replace.
All the time.
But there's several things about search and replace that are key knowledge. One is set HL search. And that means that when I look for, say, a dash, it highlights all of the matches. And the second thing you need to know about is ink search. So when I say ink search, it finds it as I'm typing it. You can
Set ink search. Turn it on.
set ink search turns it on, no ink search turns it off. In fact, I'm going to show you this in a little bit. I'm not going to get to it right now. I'll show you in a second. The search history is available with q/. That brings up a command window that shows all of the searches you've had. And once again, you have the full power of Vim within there. You can edit the individual ones. Append to this, auto piping, hit return, and it would look for the word auto piping, but it doesn't find it.
So it's a register, isn't it? Slash is,
There is a register for slash. If I say colon registers, then you can see if I hit more. There it is. You can't see it because it's underneath my, but you can see that the slash register has the last thing I searched for. The colon register has the last X command that I hit. The dot register has the thing that would repeat, I think. Is that right? Maybe I don't know. The star register is the clipboard. And you can see register G right here. is the macro that we wrote.
How was it that you got to that interactive session there with the searching, the search history?
I hit Q/.
Okay.
And there's actually several of those. There is, this is one people hit by accident all the time. Q:, is your list of commands that you recently did. People are always trying to type :Q, and they end up typing Q:, and they get this thing and they don't know what to do. The thing to do is to :Q out of it. There is, I don't have a lot of repeating words in this particular sample, so it's less useful. Maybe I should open up the Git one. But Shift* searches for the word that your cursor is on. Shift# searches backwards for the same thing. There is a visual star search plugin that helps you find just the visual selection when you use star on it. But here's the most important thing I'm going to say to you tonight. When you are searching and you want to write a regular expression, Vim hates you. Vim's regular expression stuff is so screwed up. Have you tried to write a regular expression in Vim?
I usually try to use either set magic or no magic, depending on which one works for me.
Well, I always use very magic mode.
Very nice.
So if you start your regular expression with /v, that makes it be like you're using Perl regular expressions. So every character is special except for A through Z and the digits. So dot means any character, square bracket means that here I'm setting a set of characters. So find MIL and then either K or J, 0 or more I's, and then N and a G.
If you see that mode, that \v, then does plus work correctly in the regular expression?
Yes, plus works correctly.
Oh, that's so perfect.
One or more
I just have
G's.
trouble with using a dot to mean any character, and this sounds like that would.
So /v, the most important thing I'm telling you tonight is /v.
Well, I thought it was that Vim hates us.
No, /v. I can actually look for,
So many times I put a dot there because I don't care what the character is, but it doesn't work.
I'm going to look for any word character that ends in the letter S.
One or more of them.
One or more of them. And I'm going to,
Oh, yeah.
across the entire document, substitute. I'm going to use a different character.
May I have your attention, please? The time is 8:30 and the library closes at 9 o'clock. The internet connections will begin to shut down about 10 minutes before closing.
So we need to be moving out of here in 15 minutes.
I'm almost
In
done.
less than.
Yeah, I mean, like out the door in 15, so we got like 5 or 6 minutes.
All right. So I'm going to use a different character than / because in substitute you can do that. I'm going to not put a search pattern, because if you don't put a search pattern, it reuses the previous search pattern. I'm going to replace those words that end with S with XXX.
Okay.
And if there's multiple on a line, I'm going to do them all. And here's the important part. Ask me first for each one.
Confirm. Yeah.
C for confirm.
Okay.
Do I want to replace that one? Yes. Do I want to replace that one? No. Do I want to replace that one? Yes. 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 And stop. Don't replace any more. I could have done that across just a range of lines instead of saying percent. If I said 4,8, it would have just done lines 4 through 8.
What was that again? Percent?
I said, can you see that, or the thing in the way?
I will in a second, that thing disappears.
So what this means is colon because it's an X command, percent means across the whole file, S means substitute. I'm using equals as my separator instead of slashes, but you normally use slashes. I have 2 equals in a row because I omitted the search pattern, so it'll use the last search pattern. I'm replacing with XXX. I want to do it globally. Globally means across the entire line, and C means confirm.
Isn't there also a set very magic,
There is set very magic.
so then you can keep it on all the time?
You can keep it on all the time. Yes. And you probably want to.
That seems useful.
It is super useful. You can actually, I'm gonna just elide. I'm gonna tell you my last favorite things. You can grep from within Vim, and it will build a list and let you step through the list, the quick fix list. You can run exuberant C tags and build a tags file and jump immediately to the location of the definition of any particular identifier that you care about. That makes it be like an IDE. It's basically awesome. I'm going to show you browse set. What this does is it gives you everything that you can set in the program, showing you its current value, like, for instance, / compatible. Right now, set no compatible. If I hit return, it sets compatible. I'm going back and forth between VI compatible and not compatible. And you want it to be not compatible. Remember, not compatible. Make session lets you save exactly the state that you have now. Like, for instance, if you're working on a project, you've got 5 windows open, you've got them exactly the way you want them, you can say make session and then make up some name like session.vim. And then later, you can, here I am in a different version of Vim, this is the command line version. You can source, oh, I don't know where I made that session.vim file. Damn it. Well, you would source it and you'd get back to exactly the state you were in before. Vim has autocomplete. I really wish I had time to show you the Git integration. It's a plugin called Vim Fugitive, which, quote, is so good it should be illegal, unquote. I showed you Nerd Tree already. And with Vim, you can actually edit remote files that are far, far away from you. So for instance, I will edit, let's see if I can do this, https://raw.github-user-content.com/wolf/.files/master/vimrc. Ah! So this is, I'm editing a file on GitHub. Because I got it with HTTPS, I can't put it back. I can't make changes and save it there. If I had used an FTP or SFTP or SCP, or maybe even WebDAV, I don't know, URL, I would have been able to write to it as well. Open up all the folders. Control F. You can see I use lots of plugins. And finally, zip, you can actually edit files inside a zip archive.
Oh.
And I've got that set up. Let me. Other. So this is showing me the table of contents of the zip archive, which has many, many files in it. And when I get to a file I want to edit, I hit return, and now I'm editing that file. I can make changes to it. Change inner word to SVN. And I can write it, and it updates the zip archive.
And you can do it with a tar file too.
And you can do it with a tar file too. And that concludes my presentation.
So was that 10 things?
That was 13 things, in case people knew some of them already. Do you guys feel like you got 10 things out of it?
Are your shortcuts available online anywhere?
If you go to github.com/wolf, I have a repo there called .files,
Okay.
and in .files is vimrc. That is my setup, and I update that all the time. Every time I make a change to my vimrc, I push it up there.
All right.